We're kicking off the third stage of the Overwatch League 2019 season with a very special guest. I'm joined as always by Robert Haynes. He is the boss man around the Game Haus, the El Presidente, if you will. And Rob, would you mind introducing our guest tonight?
Yes, Grant is here.
I'm here.
The
We're doing
Justice. So excited. I got to interview Grant a couple weeks back, right when he got the job.
Super early.
It was pretty awesome. It was great, dude. I had so much fun.
It was actually one of the best interviews I think I've done in a while. Just because like you never told me to stop talking. Like that never happens. Like,
are you kidding me?
We had we did have an hour booked. To be fair, we had an hour booked, and I was like, there's no way we use this whole hour.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like, you literally never cut me off, and I was like, okay, we're just doing it.
No, dude, I thought your story, because again, for those of you who don't know, Grant and I met back in Boston, 2016 or 17, something like that.
17,
for LCS finals, whenever that was, yeah. And, I don't know, we've kept in connection a little bit. Like, he's really good friends with Cody, who runs the Indiana Pacers NBA 2K team. I've still kept in contact with him a little bit too. And, when he got this job, I was like, yes, Grant's perfect for this. So we did the interview, and you guys should definitely go read it. It's pretty awesome.
My literal entire life story on there. So,
dude, it was amazing. I loved it. I could not believe how awesome the journey. And I had I don't know. I'd never seen somebody's journey go the way that you had, and I thought it was amazing. It was so
I'll
cool.
link it in chat. I'll find it on our website really quick if I can.
Wait, guys, I'm hijacking this show real quick. Is it literally your birthday, Rob?
Yes,
it is.
He's been so quiet about it. He's just not saying
Why
anything.
did we not hype this up?
Unbelievable.
It's not like
I didn't even.
Here's the thing,
what?
Here's the thing, I'm turning 27. I feel kind of old. I feel kind of lame, and I was just we have a busy day today. I don't want to bother everybody, so
dude.
That's
For shame.
That's rough. Chat. If you have birthday emotes, please spam them in chat right now. This is a requirement, and
appreciate it.
Birthday bits for Rob.
I feel like
you should.
Birthday bits for Rob.
Dude, you should know, Game Haus has, no joke, at least so far 10 counted birthdays on separate days in the company.
Wow, wild.
It is unbelievable.
I mean, that's like the month in the office, right? Where the office, they have 4 birthdays in a month or something. Yeah, it's insane.
Oh, yeah. No, literally. Mine starts it off, but then we have another one. Mallory's is in 2 days. Joe's is in a couple days. We have, at least 4 or 5 in the first week and a half. It's crazy.
Please celebrate them all. Yeah. That's tragic.
We might as well, right? That will do a big party at the end of the month.
So, how we usually like to start our shows, by the way, we got to get the birthday stuff out of the way, but how we usually like to start things off is with a little segment we call Reset Your Watch. So, just what we've been up to lately, things we've been going on. If you're a writer, we usually, let you plug your writing, all that good stuff, just good self-promotion stuff. So, Grant, since you're our guest, I'll let you kind of start us off. I mean, you had a big new job. That's pretty cool. So, that's been going on, but what else has been going on in your life recently?
I mean, obviously, first off, since I've already hijacked the show, thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this episode. I think it'll be fun. I mean, obviously, I love chatting with you guys. Other things going on in my life, new job. I think we're about a month in, so there's a lot going on with the Justice. I'm not gonna get into it right now, since obviously we're gonna chat about some of it later. But yeah, other stuff is good. I'm actually apartment hunting right now, which, as anyone who's been through that process knows, is really fun here in DC. And then also heading out to E3 next week. So that'll be a really fun time. And actually be my first time getting to check out the team house. And I'll actually be attending our doubleheader that weekend. So it should be a good time and a fun couple of weeks.
Nice. Rob, what have you been up to? You're 27, so I don't think you would have said it had Grant not called you out.
Basically retired from esports right now, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Cool,
my esports career ended about the day it began, so I was might as well get into media at this point. Solid gold league player. Did make it right below diamond in Overwatch, though, so,
There you go.
I don't know, Grant. If you would like to scout me, I'm more than happy to come join the team. If you guys decide to go out and get an Academy League player, I'm more than happy to be your DM.
Yeah, you're basically ready.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like 2,800 is the sweet spot. That's what we look for, and yeah, you're good to go.
That's it.
All right, I'll be expecting that contract. You guys heard him.
You heard it here first. Breaking news. Get it on Reddit.
Breaking news.
Oh, jeez.
I've been catching up with a lot of emails. Actually, it has been crazy. I've just been like bombarded. I don't know how else to put it. Like the last couple of weeks have been just insane. I'm still not caught up. New shows. For those of you who don't know, we've got a lot of new shows, including one with Connor and myself in a couple days. Make sure to be checking that out. Escorting the Payload will be coming out. A show about gambling on the Overwatch League, honestly. It's going to be great. We're really, really pumped. Been writing a little bit. I think I had one of my biggest weeks last week. I think I wrote a piece almost every single day last week. So
Nice, dude.
that's huge. Pretty excited. And then first week of LCS writers. We had our first week of, for those of you who don't know, we do team writers for every Overwatch League team. Now we're doing it for League of Legends too. So if you want the beat writers, if you want to know what's going on, we got you covered there. So it was a good weekend for that too. Really excited. We're going to have Overwatch League and LCS back at the same time. I don't know if I could ask for anything better.
It's incredible, dude.
It's awesome. It's esports time.
It's esports time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of the same way. I've been kind of ramping up my writing too. I've been moving to a little bit more consistent writing role at the Game Haus. So that's been incredible. So just kind of, I put out a lot of breaking news about the Florida Mayhem that we're probably going to talk about later tonight. They letting go of a couple players, just restructuring all that good stuff. Covering the Atlantic Showdown a little bit, which has been an exciting contenders event. So yeah, I mean, basically, and we also moved. We moved from Waco, Texas to Temple, Texas. You know,
That's huge.
You know, my wife works here, and so she was commuting from Waco, and it's a terrible commute, so we decided to cut that out. And now we're in the metropolis of Temple, Texas. 0 local restaurants or bars, so we go to Buffalo Wild Wings to have beers. So it's a pretty
Okay, but like when boneless wings are half off, like you're basically living, right? Like
you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, it's been good getting settled in, all that good stuff, and then just doing a lot of writing. So that's been me pretty much. But this show's not about me. This show's not about me at all. This show's about you, Grant. I mean, you are are the focus of this. We've got so many questions for you. Are you ready? Are you ready to get down to it?
I mean, I feel like we've already made the mistake of having me on the show, so might as well go from there.
It's all downhill from here, chat. It's all downhill. From here. You heard it first. All right. Well, first off, I just want to start things off. Broadly, your title, at least on Twitter as I've seen it and stuff, is VP of Esports Business. So just kind of to start off, what does that mean? I'm not business savvy. Maybe people in chat are, but what does that mean? And so, what is it like for you? I know you said you were living in DC, the team's in LA, but you're working for the team and with the team. So, would you just kind of talk about that dynamic and explain your role a little bit with the team?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I've seen so many confusing, statements around. I moved from like one piece of my org to like another piece of my org. I run the team. I don't run the team. I don't do anything. I do everything. So I'm really excited to like clear this question up, honestly. So I'm glad we started off. So I think it's a helpful place to start is my previous role here in DC was with Monumental Sports and Entertainment. And for those of you who don't know, Monumental Sports and Entertainment, they own the Washington Wizards, the NBA team, the Washington Capitals, the NHL team, who won the Stanley Cup last year, 2 AFL teams, a WNBA team, a G League team. Yes, a lot of franchises. They also operate an OTT network. And they're also investors in Axiomatic, which obviously owns a controlling interest in Team Liquid, which is kind of their endemic esports vehicle. And then most recently, they operate an NBA 2K League team, Wizard District Gaming. So previously, I was at Monumental. I was the director of esports there, running all of the esports efforts there, including launching the NBA 2K League team, our Team Liquid relationship, and activating them locally here in DC. And then also managing our NHL esports efforts, which we put on our first event last year.
Nice.
Okay, so previous role. What Monumental does not own is the DC Overwatch League team, the Washington Justice. So I obviously transitioned over to a new role here at the Justice, a completely separate organization, which is owned by Mark Ein. Mark Ein in the DC area owns a couple of different properties as well, including City Open, Washington Castles, which is the winningest tennis team in the history of tennis, and then also the City Paper. So again, kind of like a conglomerate that owns a few different properties here in the DC area. So at the Justice, titles in esports are a little, I don't know, they're just a little vague, right? Like VP of esports business, like what does that actually mean? Like what do you do? It's really simple to think of. Everything that has to do with our esports properties rolls up into me. So that's both on the business side and the team side. So most people most recently noticed that we posted a position for the GM. So I'm responsible for hiring a GM for the Overwatch League team. I'm responsible for obviously our performance as the Overwatch League team, staff, managing our coaches, making player swaps, player trades, finding them, moving them to DC later for 2020, hosting our homestand matches, selling sponsorships, and then also looking at diversification for other esports titles, obviously as those come down the road as well. It basically is like running an org, obviously reporting to some awesome ownership in terms of Mark and then also some of his investment firm. That's what I do in a nutshell.
Awesome.
Which is not much, right? Super easy.
Anyone can do it. Simple. Yeah, your experience didn't lend anything to this current role at all. I mean, no. Any average Joe could do it.
Well, I mean, as people are saying, right? You do nothing. Clearly, like, I mean, let's.
Okay, that was a little harsh, but
that's what you said. That's not what I said.
I said it about myself. No, I honestly think it is. It goes back to like being an expansion team is really hard. And like I'm not one to like look for pity or whatnot, but like I've seen NBA 2K League expansion teams struggle. I've seen new LEC teams struggle, right? Like look at Rogue, not to call them out or anything. There are like extreme challenges being an expansion team when everyone else has a year head start, right? And like I think a lot of that begins with staffing. It's really hard to staff both in terms of players. Players have already signed 1-on-1 contracts. Then it's also hard to sign in terms of business and team staff, right? Some team staff are on 3-year contracts, 2-year contracts, right? It is not as easy as people say, like, oh, hey, you just bought this franchise, go hire a bunch of people, you'll be good to go, right? So I think we're and part of that is just telling the story of the team too, right? I think the fact that people were even just like confused like where I work or whatnot is just something that we need to fix, right? Like we need to make sure people know, like, hey, the Justice RDC's Overwatch League team, here's the ownership, and here are the folks who are kind of behind the scenes running the show.
So I've got a quick follow-up on that. You had mentioned early on in there that you guys are in the process of looking for a GM. We're aware, it broke. It was a bit ago. It was towards the end of stage 2. Kate Mitchell announced that she was stepping away, that she'd no longer be with the Justice, moving on. So that left you guys without a GM, and we assume the process has been going along. Can you speak to a little bit what your role in that process is, and then maybe how far along you guys are? Have you guys picked someone yet, or where are you guys at in that?
Yeah, good question as well. So one, I'll shout out r/competitive Overwatch, right? Like I feel like I've been living on that sub recently, answering questions. Please keep them coming. I find that sub really engaging and for the most part a pretty good place for discussion. I know there's a lot of confusion, right? After Kate announced that that Kate was stepping down. Kate was brought on as as the assistant GM for the team, obviously responsible for kind of staffing and signing our initial batch of players or whatnot. She reported into a vice president of business affairs who's not with the organization currently anymore, kind of similar to what my role entails now. So pretty recently we promoted Aaron Heckman, PRE, I always get his tag wrong, to assistant general manager. Okay. And people were very confused. They're like, what is going on? Are you still looking for a GM? Are you not looking for a GM? So to clarify that, and I think I attempted to clarify this previously, PRE was one of our positional coaches, right? We have Avala, we have MKL, we have Sugar, and we had PRE. PRE has like a really we'll actually fix that. Pre has a very unique background in terms of his like professional work experience and his project management experience above all else. And so after, when I was first hired, one of the first things I did was have kind of one-on-ones with all of the staff and get to know them, try to understand what their talents are, what their weaknesses are, and really understand like where they're looking to fit into the org. And after my conversation with Aaron, one thing became really apparent is that, his talents were kind of underutilized as a coach. He has this incredible skill set for managing both people, and then also, just managing the operations of a team and an org. So that was the reason for the change, right? It was more, aligning a title with his skill set, and less, Aaron stepping in and all of a sudden going to be the same GM as everyone expects. The intention was always to fully hire a full GM, right? I think even, I don't want to speak for my predecessor or whatnot. I imagine the intention was even to hire a full GM previously. So we obviously posted that we were looking on Twitter, and also Instagram or whatnot. We've had an incredible outpouring of applicants, which is awesome, right? Like I think and not, I say that knowing like I've hired for other roles in the past, and you kind of get everything good, bad, and in between. We've had a lot of good candidates apply, which is really exciting for me and for the org, and honestly for Overwatch League as a whole, right? I think there's a lot of value in folks who want to work for a team in the league. So we are in the midst of reaching out for first round interviews. I anticipate having those wrapped up hopefully Friday if we're aggressive, if not Monday of next week. And then that process will kind of progress after an interview with me to interview with some of our ownership as well. And then hopefully you can make a decision kind of in the next 2 or 3 weeks here. It is a really exciting team, a really exciting time. I think, every org looks for something different in their GM, right? Also, but in case you guys couldn't tell, I live on like a major road. So, I promise I'm like inside. The windows are shut. This is what happened. Welcome to DC, right? Yeah, but I think like this role in particular, every org looks for something different in their GM, right? You look at kind of like a Huck. Huck is basically the president of Boston Uprising, but he's also like technically their GM, right? I think you look at a team like Defiant, Jay is exclusively their GM and it's not really doing anything on the business side. Right? For us, it's certainly a more team-focused role, but at the same time, like one of my biggest things is finding someone who just wants to own their role, right? And really, no one's work stops exactly at the boundaries that you expect it to, right? It doesn't mean like a GM is only going to focus on players, only going to focus on player acquisitions, player trades, player management or whatnot. Like chances are you're going to have something to do with a sponsorship activation at some point, right? Chances are you're going to have to help us find a practice space here in DC, right? I think like finding one of my biggest traits that I look for when I'm, either hiring or kind of interviewing folks is just people who are passionate about the space, obviously have a little bit of a professional background, in something either similar or previous, and then really someone who just is comfortable with uncertainty. And I think that is a skill that is really underrated, because in esports there's a lot of uncertainty. Not necessarily about esports like going away or like your org going away or whatnot. Just about there's no day to day that's the same. And I think someone looking for like the standard 9 to 5 is probably going to be really unhappy with a role in esports or a role in or a role as a GM or whatnot. So finding someone who kind of fits that is goal number one.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
I promise I answered the question somewhere.
Yeah. No, you definitely
No, you did. That was awesome. That was awesome. No, I love hearing like what you're looking for, and I think you're right with uncertainty, right? I don't look for anywhere near as high profile people as you do. No offense to all my people, I love you dearly. You know that. It's just the general manager of a team, I'm sure is there's probably a lot of things you're looking for, but I think uncertainty describes in a good way what esports is about. It truly is uncertain in the fact that there are going to be a lot of cool opportunities and things that you just don't expect. I think that's something that I honestly wouldn't have even thought of expecting you guys to be looking for. So I think that's I don't know. That's probably my favorite part about that. Honestly, I love that. I think that's so cool.
I mean, hopefully it pays off, right? Like again, that's like certainly my personal philosophy. is something that I've kind of like encountered over the past couple of years of working with different people and hiring different people. But it's just like my personal experience, right? Like if there was ever a time where I woke up and like 2 days were the same, like I kind of like glanced in the mirror. I was like, wait, what? Like, did I not do something that day? Like, was I sick or something? Because esports is like in a place where, and like what kind of gets, like everyone asks, like what gets you out of bed every morning, in the morning, every day. And it's like, you can wake up and one comment or like one thing you do can have an impact, not like a monumental impact, but can have an impact on an industry, right? Like if you get up all of a sudden and you like go on Twitter and like you just bash a developer or you bash like an org, like you can have serious impact, right? Like not that that's always a good thing or a bad thing, right? But like the esports industry as like a space is still one where like if you're really excited and passionate about working in it, you can have an impact. If you're like really passionate about accounting or like being a lawyer, it is really tough to have that same impact in that profession, right? Like you go to school for accounting for 4 years, you get your master's for your 5th year, and then you go work at one of the big four for the next like 4 years, and you're not like impacting the industry. Like you can either be good or bad at your job, right? But like you're very unlikely to make like a major like shift in the field of accounting during your time there, right? Like, not that that's a bad thing. Again, love accountants. But yeah, I think that's like one of the things that's most exciting about esports to me is like, you can get up every day, and if you go to work and you're really excited and really passionate about it, and you go about it the right way, you can have a major impact on an entire industry.
So I'd be curious then. So that being like a driving quality, when you're looking for someone like a GM or anyone that you're hiring personally, you said you had experience with hiring before. How much of it do you look for where it's just that passion, that fervor for what you're doing, and to what degree does it have to, like, to what degree does a GM have to have a certain set of skills rather than just being someone who is, you know, the most driven person you've ever encountered or something like that? Like, where's that balance?
Yeah, that's a big question. So I'm going to tackle it in no, that's fine. I'm here for I told you before the show started, I'm here for the big question. So, there's two pieces to that, right? I think back in the start of esports, right? If you were like a pro player or someone who got really like into a scene, it was pretty easy for you to get a job, right? Whether it was at like a team or like working at a publisher almost. There wasn't a whole lot of requirements on having like professional like work experience, like in the traditional sense, right? That you like worked at a consulting firm or a bank or something, right? I think that still holds true in some titles and to some extent. I would say I feel like the industry is moving to a place where they expect more than just the passion, right? Like they expect you to have spent like that 1 to 3 years working at like a quote unquote real job, right? Or if you didn't, like you should have a really solid resume of like endemic experience, right? Like you should have gone from team to team to team to team, and done like better and more progressive things that you should have done, right? Not that you like started a tier 3 org and you spent like 3 years there as a social media manager, like working on the side, right? Like that's really tough to like show growth from that perspective. So from like a hiring perspective, I mean, like I'm guilty of following industry trends, right? I feel like we're all in this kind of position where we kind of want people who are super passionate, but then also have that like little, they're not too corporate, but they're like at least exposed to like how a traditional business operates or how like a major sports league operates or whatnot. From a GM perspective, I got flamed for this a lot at the NBA 2K League when we were hiring for our team manager and our head coach. When I put out a tweet saying the most important thing for a GM isn't knowing about 2K, it's about knowing how to like manage people.
Okay.
And I think that still holds true.
Completely agree with that concept. Yeah.
Like I mean, like Twitter is never the place for like one of these discussions, which lesson learned. But like I'm guilty of that. But I think being a GM is more about like being able to manage a staff cohesively, and then also like you should 100% be ingrained in the scene still. But like, do you really need to be like a master's level Overwatch player to be a GM? Like, no. Like, I'd rather you be someone super reliable who like knows the ins and outs of like working with players, like building a contract that's favorable to both the player and the team, knows how to, manage a relationship with Blizzard, Activision in terms of like, here's where we have to be at like 9:05, right? And we're there at 9 o'clock really instead of 9:05, right? Like that's the type of person that I want waking up every day, and kind of like leading the team rather than necessarily someone who's like, yeah, I'm like a Masters Overwatch player, but like sometimes I show up like 2 hours late, or I'm kind of like more focused on my own stream or something, right? So I think that does play a role. I mean, GM's obviously a little unique in that it does lean a little bit more endemic or like game focused, I would say. But yeah, definitely like a trend industry wide in that you want someone who's a little bit more corporate or a little bit more traditional work experience with also still the passion of wanting to work in esports.
Totally makes sense.
Love that. Seriously,
I didn't get flamed on the show.
Yeah,
it's a good start.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, well, because I feel like I remember that tweet. I may have even liked it, but I remember that tweet. And I remember talking with Cody actually about this when we visited him in Indianapolis. And he was telling me about some stuff, and I was like, yeah, I play NBA 2K, but like I'm not like great at it. I don't really remember, I don't know that much about it. And they were just coming out with the new system.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is an Overwatch League focus, but like, I think I remember him telling me, dude, like I didn't know everything about it either, but when you get into it, it's about managing people and having this experience with trying to basically almost build a business. And I feel like for you, like that's what you're trying to do right now, right? I mean, you're coming in the middle of the season and you're trying to manage people and build out something for more of the future.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Overwatch is certainly, like, a better alignment for me, right? Like, I played since beta, like, I was top 500 season 1 or whatnot. Like, I get the game. I enjoy watching it. I enjoy playing it, like, all that fun stuff. I'm trash now. Like, that's fine. But, like, take me back to, like, 2K League. I'd never played 2K League. And all of a sudden, I was, like, a director responsible for launching a team, right? Like, that doesn't, like, I didn't feel, like, behind or whatnot, right? Like, I felt like my ability to go find a head coach that I could work with and that had that knowledge and trusted was more important. And like I had a really good grasp of like running things on the business side. I had a really good grasp of how to manage players. Obviously, like I hadn't specifically worked with 2K League players, but managing like players in general, I had a really good grasp of that. And I mean, we made playoffs season 1, right? Like that's like I don't, and we were the second highest selling team in the league, right? So. Like I feel really good about that, and at least I think that methodology kind of holds true. I do think like Overwatch is a little unique just in terms of like how the scenes are set up, right? Like you do need the relationships through trials, open division, contenders, right, to be able to make those like requests and trial players and whatnot. But yeah, like I think the be all end all is still like finding staff that you're comfortable working with, and then ultimately can deliver like a cohesive team and business experience.
Yeah. Rob, I've taken all the questions so far. I'll let you take one, man. I don't want to just hog these. So.
Well, okay, so I think this is actually working out perfectly because one of our next questions was like, what's the Grant factor? Like, what are you bringing in to the team? Because you do have a certain style about you, like Twitter and the interactions that we have had. I think. There is a certain way that you seem to like to do things, and I mean, I personally really appreciate it. So you're not getting any flame here from us, but I would like to hear like, what are you bringing? I guess this is more for the Washington Justice fans. What are you bringing to the team that they should need to know about?
Yeah, I mean that's really hard to quantify, right?
Like one thing.
What's your overall thing, right?
Yeah, we can try. So I do think I'm like a little unique in that I've lived both sides of the table already, right? Like I lived the endemic experience over at Splice, and then I lived the traditional, quote unquote, traditional sports experience, or at least operating an esports team within a sports organization over at MSE. I do think Overwatch League is pretty much the perfect mix of both of those, right? Like you look at a lot of the staff who are working at Overwatch League, a lot of them are from traditional sports. The other chunk are from really the endemic scene. And Overwatch League is like a model, very closely like follows the traditional sports model, while obviously being an endemic esports title. And so for me, like I feel like I've lived both sides, which provides like a really interesting perspective. More so than anything, though, like my reason for joining, right? Like, the Justice obviously we're not where we want to be in the standings, and like I think even like organizationally, we're probably one of the most understaffed in the league. I feel like it's all fixable, and that was like one of my main reasons for like when I was interviewing and like when I wanted to join. Like our ownership is incredible. Like our ownership has a great track record, a number of other properties, and they're so invested. They're just incredibly passionate about the space and really like operating the team and really being DC's team. And so I certainly like kind of bought into that vision. And I think like whenever you have that at the top, as long as you have people who are willing to work really, really hard at executing that vision, you're set up for success. So I certainly feel like I'm one of those people, and honestly, that's why I'm here and excited to be here.
Absolutely.
I have a question kind of going off that, and then looking at chat as well. So,
yeah, I was gonna say, do we take chat questions?
Fair.
We do.
So,
Okay.
Mallory is asking if you're excited for geolocation next year. I want to ask that one. So, I mean, are you excited for it? What's it going to kind of be like? And then, just kind of as a part of that, how from the business side of this to me sounds challenging. So, the Overwatch League being completely based in LA for 2 seasons. And then, basically in the off season, transitioning that entire league to a city-based league, each organization splitting off to their home cities, home and away games. We don't have to get into the complete details of how that's going to work on the business side, but maybe just in a nutshell, like what strategies or what are some of your goals in bringing the team to DC? And then, what are you excited about for it, I guess? So.
Yeah, so I feel like we're gonna talk really.
Yeah, we keep giving you like really long form questions. I'm sorry, but
yeah, but no, it's fine. I'll take it in stride. Am I excited for geolocation? Yes, I am super excited for geolocation. I actually was in the audience of Nate Nanzer's South by Southwest panel when he made the announcement.
Wow.
And obviously at that time I was just a fan. I think I was going through the interview process for the role here. But I remember hearing that, and I think I actually tweeted about it too. But I remember hearing about that, and I was like, "Wait, what?" And like, I turned to, I think it was Colin sitting next to me, and I was like, "Did he just say they're going home?" Because like, for a league to even have that like vision and perspective, was just so huge to me. Like, you look at a league like LCS, or like even like NBA 2K League, where the NBA teams are already based in their home cities, and like we weren't thinking about geolocation, right? Like we were traveling up and down to New York every week. So just for him to have that vision as commissioner was like really exciting for me. And then obviously now that I've joined, just like seeing how well thought out the execution is, I'm just super excited about it. I think one of the biggest things that people either underestimate or don't necessarily think about right away is the revenue opportunity that geolocation provides, right? You look at like NBA or NHL organizations, it's like 70% of sponsorship revenues from local sponsors, wow. Right? It's not from national accounts, right? If you're like a national brand, right? How do you like, you can cherry pick a few markets, right? Like you pick New York, you pick DC, you pick Philly, you pick someone on the West Coast, and you pick someone in Central America. Like that's a strategy. But like a lot of the like sponsorship dollars that teams generate are from their local accounts, right? It's your local franchise of Papa John's, it's your local McDonald's franchises, your local Coca-Cola or Pepsi like regional group, right? Or the North Atlantic or whatever it ends up being. So having opportunities like that, and then also you add in a bunch of assets that are tangible, right? I think one of the biggest success points we had at the NBA 2K League was at its core, we were selling assets that brands understood, right? Like you're used to buying courtside signage at a Wizards game. You're used to buying basketball or basket stanchion at a Wizards game. You're buying it virtually now. You're buying it for Wizards District Gaming. It's the same thing, same look, shape, feel, same amount of seconds on rotation, right? So you're not getting that same level of granularity for home games for Overwatch League. But you are getting like in-arena signage, right? You're getting in-arena signage. You can sell suite packages. You can activate on chairbacks, right? You can sell a VIP lounge. You are getting tangible assets that these brands understand far better than I'm buying Twitch in stream on Ninja stream for 3 minutes every hour, right? Like, I know, like, for us, that seems so, like, natural and something that we talk about all the time. But if you're like a 55-year-old marketer who's been at Pepsi for 20 years, like, that conversation might not be super easy, right? And it's probably a little hard to kind of get the marketing dollars for an activation like that. So I think, like, yeah, especially like after looking at what Dallas did, I mean, Dallas just knocked it out of the park in terms of local activations. I mean, I remember walking up and getting my Jack in the Box swag bag. I still have my Jack in the Box swag bag somewhere, right? And just like hearing, like, you know, I was just sitting there and I was like, wow, I feel like I'm at a local sporting event. I have LEDs for, you know, Favor or whatever the delivery service was, right? Like, I still even remember it. Like, I've never had food delivered and I remember what it was. Advertising. That's why you get in esports. But yeah, no. So I think for that reason, I'm very excited about the model. Also, like, I think esports fans have shown time and time again, if you give them a place to come together and watch a game, they'll come out. I mean, we obviously hosted just a Team Liquid watch party here for their Worlds appearance last year, and we had fans lined up at 4 a.m. coming out to watch to a watch party, right? Like, not even the match in person, obviously. And I think giving fans the opportunity to come out and watch games, like, I mean, they sold out Dallas. Like, they will come out and come out and watch in droves. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's a great model. I'm super excited about it. It's a ton of work too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't know. I have never been a part of like thankfully I was like slightly exposed to like venue operations and negotiations like during my time at MSC, but like, yeah, for like new teams or staff who have never like dealt with the venue side or whatnot, it is a lot, right? Like, it's a lot dealing with holds and vendors and whatnot. So it's certainly a challenge, but I think it's really exciting. And honestly, it speaks volumes that like Overwatch League is one of the few leagues with kind of like the staffing and vision to take it on.
Oh, absolutely. I can't tell you how excited I am to hear how excited you guys are, because out there yet about how this is going to work, and I'm sure that it'll get announced. I'm not going to ask you that question.
There we go.
You probably can't say anything about, but I'm going to definitely be looking forward to it. It's been something I've been preaching. I literally did a podcast, an old LCS Weekly 3 years ago, where I was like, they have got to localize. And seeing that you guys are doing this now, I can't even imagine how exciting it has to be, just even getting the chance to be the first ones to do it like this.
I mean, the other thing too is like, people forget how much easier it becomes to activate like a sponsor or a partner when the team is based in your city.
That's so true.
Yes.
Like, if I signed a deal tomorrow to like Giant, or like, look at Events DC. Events DC is like one of our largest partners. They're a huge supporter of the city. Like, they would love to do things with our team. Our team is all the way in California. They can't like do anything unless we send like content crews and like staff, and like, that's why obviously, you know, and it goes back to like just how invested our ownership is in the team and the space. I mean, like, we brought our entire team back for an entire week.
It's a big deal.
Which was again, no small undertaking from both like a cost and resource standpoint, but like, that we want to activate local. Like, we're DC's team, and if the team's never here, like, it's really hard to make that association. Like, we wanted to give the fans a chance to meet the team. We wanted to give the players also a chance to see like where they might be next year, right? And ultimately, obviously, give our partner a lot of great exposure and content from that perspective. So I'm really excited. I think the model works. I mean, if it didn't, traditional sports wouldn't have done it for so many years. So
exactly,
I'm really excited about it.
All right, last comment on this. So Steve Arhanset, you know, from Team Liquid, he at LCS Finals in St. Louis made the comment, and this was during the press conference, so I don't know how many people got to see this, but he made the comment that like, localization is more about like the kids now, their kids and whatnot. And I wanted to kind of get your perspective on that, as somebody who is doing these things? Is that kind of the perspective that you feel like you're having? Like, because I think the problem with the Overwatch League fans right now, and a lot of the people in media as well, are feeling like, well, this is never going to work. And I think it's because they feel like it's just about the fans who are here right now. Whereas I think that it's more important for the fans down the road than it is for the current Overwatch League fan. Can you maybe comment a little bit on that?
So like, we'll unpack that question in two parts. Like, one, and I'm guilty of this too, it is really tough to evaluate an opportunity, whether it be like a brand, company, a strategy, if you're not a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like full disclosure, right? I'm guilty of it too. Like, you see that meme, you see that brand tweet something, and you're like, why did they do that, right? And it's not because somebody didn't think about it, right? Or that like hundreds of really smart people, or even 500 really smart people like thought about it, ran a lot of numbers, ran a lot of models behind it, right? So one, like, I always try to take criticism from like an outside perspective with a grain of salt, right? It's like really hard to, like, people who are not a part of it don't know everything, right? Like, they don't know the workings of it. So and like this happens all over esports too. Like, Reddit analysts like shred apart like teams, like they berate GMs, like, also like you just can't let it like get to you, because you have to remember at the end of the day, like, they don't know, they're not a part of it, like they don't know they don't know it, like so yeah, that's step one. I didn't see Steve's comment. I love Steve. I think he's a great guy, great leader of TL, obviously. I do think like there are reasons that esports want to capture like that one step removed generation of fans, right? Like, if you look at the NBA 2K League, like one of the objectives was if you are like a 16 to 24-year-old, you're playing NBA 2K, you might not necessarily be a fan of an NBA team, but if you play NBA 2K, you watch the NBA 2K League, you become a fan of Wizard District Gaming. When you're like 35 with 2 kids and a wife, you become a fan of the Wizards because that was your NBA 2K team growing up, and now you buy season tickets, right? And that way the model becomes a little bit more self-fulfilling. I do think there's certainly like a piece of it for Overwatch, right? Like, if you're 24, you want to buy like a ticket with your like 4 buddies to an Overwatch League match for next year. You all go, you have a great time. Like, when you're 35, like, yeah, you're going to buy season tickets for your kids, or you're going to go with your kids and take them to a match too, right? Like, I wouldn't say the only reason for localization is to like reach the younger demographic. I think it's certainly like it's a bonus, right? Like, it's a piece of it. But I do think like if there wasn't demand for the audience already for the home matches, it wouldn't necessarily like it. Doing it for like the younger demo wouldn't be the only reason for doing it.
No, absolutely, and I think that's extraordinarily important to, I guess, separate from what people have been feeling or been thinking. This next one, I think we start heading into the fun questions now.
Fun question? Wait, those weren't fun?
Yeah, well,
oh man, I've been doing it. I've been doing this wrong the whole time.
Dude, I mean,
sorry. Let me get super serious and
yeah.
So I actually before I came on the show, I was sitting here like thinking about this, and I was like, man, it's been like a really long time since I've been on like a what do you call these? Like, they're not podcasts, but like,
it's kind of
like
a
name for it?
podcast
Like
live show.
A live talk show
as much as it is. Yeah,
it's been a long time since I've been on one, and every time I go on one or every time I watch one, I can only think of Hotline League. Do you guys know Hotline League?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so really, where Hotline League came from was like, well, I don't know if they came from this, but like before Hotline League, there was another show that was hosted by Nick Allen, Travis, and Kelby May.
Yes.
That was the show, which I forget the name of, but what was it? I really want to know the name.
I can't remember. But...
Esports and Chill. Esports and Chill. Thank you. That was the show that I watched in college that inspired me to like work on the business side of esports, right? Like, if you ever had a show where you just got like 3 people who were involved in the industry, and there was always a ton of stuff that they couldn't comment on, which is really hilarious, right? You'd watch Nick Allen. Nick Allen was like the commissioner at Riot or something, right? Like he was really high up in LCS, and he was just suffering, right? Because you had Travis and Kelby on both sides being like, please tell us what is going on with LCS. Like when Renegades got kicked out of LCS, please tell us about Renegades, right? So every time I go on a show, I think of that. But anyways, tangent aside, fun questions.
Fun questions. So for starters, you mentioned earlier, I mean, like season 1, you're top 500. So you said you're trash now.
I think it was beta.
I don't think you're probably trash. What rank are you now? I'd be curious.
Oh, I am definitely trash. I'm like, so I got placed 2,800, and then I played with friends and threw 200 elos. So I'm like 26 right now.
Dude,
yeah, I'm real bad. I'm real bad right now.
That's way better than me.
I will, like Overwatch is tough because, actually, like this is my own personal feelings toward like playing video games as you get older. Like I'm 25. I'm old, right, for esports, which is why I work on the business side. Games like Overwatch and League of Legends, and like multiplayer games in general, it is so easy for random people to ruin your experience. And like when I watch a game like Fortnite or play a game like Fortnite, I understand why people like it. It's because you go in, you play it by yourself, and like outside of the random hacker or like teaming duo or whatever, you're in control of your fate. Like sometimes you get like RNG'd, like kind of like RNG isn't even that bad in like battle royale games like Fortnite. But like in a game like Overwatch or like League of Legends, you can have someone just throw, and like you've legitimately wasted like 40 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yes.
And that gets really tough the older you get. Yeah. Like, and I'm not saying by any means that like I have the fix for it or whatnot, but I've certainly like done a lot of stuff reflecting on it and been like, man, like I might just watch a stream instead of playing that like 2 hours of Overwatch or League, just because I don't want someone ruining my game. I think that's why like innovations like Clash. Like I think Clash would be huge for League, right? God. I think like whenever you can incorporate like in-game tournaments into a game, like that's what sustains the scene. That's what sustains like player base for multiple generations or whatnot, because you have to. I mean, I say you have to find friends, but like you're basically forced to find 5 others if you want to play, right? Friends or not. You typically become friends with those 4 other people, right? And that experience, I think, is so different than solo queue or like playing in ranked, right? Like that is like how the game was designed. That's how the game was like meant to be played or whatnot. So I think like as developers like look at like how do you extend like life cycles of games, like I think personally, again, personal belief, but I feel like that's one of the ways that you can definitely do it.
Do you think that Overwatch should look into like a separate competitive elo for like your solo queue rating and your group rating, or what do you, or this isn't really touching into role queue too much, but
put in ranked teams.
Yeah,
put in ranked teams.
I walked into that one. I like ranked teams.
I think so
like,
too.
Personally, like I do like it. Like I know people get all touchy about like what elo gets assigned, like how do you average like elos or whatnot. Yeah, I mean, I think that fixes it. I think like separate solo queue is a good step too, I want to say. Just because like I do feel like I had a situation where like I had 1 diamond and like 2 golds on my team in like a 3 stack, and then you go against like 3 plats, and it's like, does that 1 diamond truly make up for having 3 plats if the 2 plats outskill your 2 golds? My personal anecdote was no, because we got stomped. Like no. But like I don't know if that always holds true, right? Like I'm again someone much smarter at Blizzard has figured that out. Yeah, like I don't prepare. I don't pretend to be like a game dev or like a balance expert. Like my personal anecdote is like it's frustrating to like lose games just because like one person can ruin your experience. And like I think the first publisher to like truly perfect like an experience where like not that no one can ruin it, but that you aren't punished for someone ruining it would be a huge success.
Yeah. Oh, totally absolutely. Agree. That would change because everybody else would copy
like my biggest thing is like if someone really wants to throw for like 40 minutes, like I accept that I can't get that time back, but like give me my rating back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, and like people make the argument that like you could like pressure someone into like throwing consistently, but like they would get punished worse, right?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna take the loss and also like get a strike on their account or whatever. Like that's not really accurate. Like just because you're like all of a sudden losing a game, you're gonna pressure someone into like throwing. Like I feel like 9 times out of 10, like that person has stronger morals than to accept that. So like realistically, like if you just happen to get in a game and someone decides to troll or like throw, like just punish them. Like don't. Like,
I mean,
like don't punish me. Like I was playing the game.
It is so obvious that when you see people who, as the phrase goes, running it down mid, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, sorry, that's more of a league term, but I guess it could be used for Overwatch too, where they're just running straight into the enemy team for no reason. But it's, yeah, I mean, there needs to be a fix for it, and I think somebody will do it soon, because there's too many games getting ruined by it. I would have to think Riot or Blizzard will figure it out soon. But
yeah, and I mean like Riot and Blizzard, to their credit, have made like massive strides in terms of like chat abuse, right? And like saying negative things in chat. Like it just gets like, again, this is like the competitive player in me talking, where it's like, man, I'm really glad this person got banned or like restricted in chat for like swearing at me, right, or whatnot. But like I don't love that this guy who's thrown 5 games gets to keep playing, right? Like that's really tough. And like again, it's not on like one dev or whatnot. It's just like, yeah, it's just a really tough. It's a tough problem, to be honest. And I think that's why like a game like Fortnite kind of works, to be honest.
Yeah, I know that there were a lot of talks when they gave the option to do like thumbs up for the endorsements. They didn't give a thumbs down.
Yeah.
Like it seems like you could have. Again, I'm not a developer. Don't want to act like one. But if you incorporate a thumbs down feature and 4 or more people on a team thumbs down one person, maybe you lose less SR in that case or something, or again.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Like I don't know the back and forth on like you obviously don't want people abusing it. Like if you're just obviously like losing to like get out of a loss or whatnot. But yeah, I mean it's just tough. Yeah. But this is my own personal.
No, I feel
I like it.
Who's your main though? Really quick, who do you play in Overwatch when you play?
Yeah. So it was actually kind of funny on the DC trip. I found out like Corey and I are actually twins. So I was a Widow main. So like when the game came out, I was a Widow main. I still like technically main Widow, but and again, I don't know if this is bad or good, but I try to fill now just because like I feel like you have to if you want to play the game. Otherwise, you end up with like 4 DPS and it feels bad. In League, he ADs and I'm AD now, so I AD too. Yeah, so Corey and I are twins. Feels good. But yeah, technically, if I had to say, I'd say like Widow or
it's a good person to be a twin with.
Where's
It's good.
What's Corey's rank in League?
This is good. Corey's rank in League was like gold, I want to say, or like it was definitely not high. And I was like, okay, so I can 1v1 Corey in League, and I will definitely get destroyed in 1v1 in Overwatch, but it's okay because like we balance out. So
I'll play some League with Corey and show him my bronze level skills.
AD
carry, dude. I'll take him on my 1v1. Maybe you too. Could you? I bet. Where are you ranked in League right now?
I am in placements. I don't. So like okay. So I'll do my like quick little rant on League. So my thing in League is like I play a bunch of normal games, like ranked normal, or draft normal, because I think like if Riot ever truly made that the practice ground for ranked, like you should have a requirement where like you can't play a character in ranked till you play like a certain number of normal games. Like
that'd be a good idea.
It feels so bad. Like this kid is playing Annie for the first time mid
ever
ranked game, and it's like, is this truly like you're walking out to compete in like a competitive environment? Like no, you just decided to pick this character, right? So I like during season 3 and whatnot, like I always envisioned that like normal draft would be like that practice environment. It never got there, right? Like pros still is like solo queue and ranked. Like everyone just learns new heroes in ranked or champions in ranked. Like I've given up on my like personal dream or whatever. But yeah, so I have like 8,000 like normal games or whatever, and then like the last like week of the season, I always like climb to like D5, and just so I could get like my diamond border or whatnot, and then I quit or whatever. But yeah, I haven't done it for the past couple of seasons. So like 2 seasons ago, I just did my 10 placements, got plat. Then I did my 10 placements, got gold. I'll probably just do my 10 placements and get gold again. But like, if I wanted to play League, like I feel like pretty good that I could grind it out to like D5 again.
Nice.
Oh, you would blow me out of the water then. There's no discussion.
I mean, League's my game, man. And Overwatch.
That's awesome. All right, so let's go into the lightning round. We have a couple minutes.
Oh boy.
And we're really excited. I don't think you saw the questions until probably like right now.
I have not seen the questions.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Can you throw them in the dock, Rob, so I can see them as well? I just can't click over right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
I just
Thank
put them.
goodness.
I see. Yeah.
Whoa! Why did you scroll down?
Yeah.
Oh god, I got baited.
We hit him. So here's what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna do a lightning round of just random questions. Connor and I will flip off. Grant's gonna give us his answers, and you're gonna definitely get to know Grant by the time.
Oh god,
this is the hard question.
I got baited. I got baited so hard. I thought these were actually. Oh my god.
We just lulled you into nothing for 50 minutes to get to do this, basically.
I actually got baited so hard. Oh god.
All right, Connor, you want to lead us off?
We can just trade off. So this is the lightning round, officially sponsored.
Yeah.
Grant, what do you want this to be sponsored by?
Sponsored by. Oh god.
Literally.
Atlantic Cruise Lines.
By what?
Atlantic Cruise Line. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I don't know.
Big.
All right.
There's a lot of vacation questions out here.
We need to add
I want to
them.
go on a cruise.
All right. First question.
All right.
Grant, what is your favorite food?
Favorite food is definitely pizza. I am also from Michigan, so deep dish from Chicago. Sorry, New York pizza fans.
Ooh,
You made the right choice. Man. Mountains or beaches?
Beach. So my girlfriend actually planned this like really elaborate vacation through Europe, and I jokingly said like I would probably rather go sit on a beach for 4 days. Then we compromised and we're going to Korea for 3 weeks. So like it's all good.
Nice.
There you go.
But yes, no beach for
Favorite
sure.
soda?
Awesome.
If you drink soda.
I do drink soda. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge diet soda addict. I know people will probably at me and say I'm slowly dying, but
The Splenda.
that's allowed. Splenda, whatever. Diet Coke with lime is my ultimate favorite soda.
Okay.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite sport?
So, like, is this to play or to watch?
Either. Yeah.
Either. Whoa. Okay. To watch is college basketball.
Oh,
I'm from Michigan, so Michigan State Tom Izzo years was really exciting to watch for me.
Absolutely.
I think it's a really exciting sport in general. To play, so I played soccer most of my life. So if I had to play one, soccer. Soccer is actually what quote unquote kicked off my history in competitive video games because I fractured my growth plate playing soccer.
Shoot.
So after that, I wasn't allowed to play contact sports or really any sports at all through all of high school. So I got super into WoW. Obviously played pro, and that was history for me. So
Man,
dual-edged sword. That soccer. I still like.
Soccer.
I mean, yeah.
Sidebar. What position you play in soccer, or did you play?
So I was center defense.
Nice. I'm a sweeper as well. So man, respect, dude. Big time.
Yeah, it was fun. Indoor soccer, I haven't played indoor, which was awesome. Like indoor soccer is actually really fun. I think it's super under the radar.
Next question. Favorite Overwatch hero? So you main widow, but like favorite hero?
Favorite hero is definitely Tracer. I think like watching a good Tracer go to work is just disgusting. Tracer's just sick.
Well, I was intrigued with the Tracer part. Morning? Are you a morning or a night person?
Night for sure. I mean, like I don't know how you work in esports and be a morning person. Also, like teams based in LA, so PST time, like have to be awake, right? So, just night person in general. Though.
Dream vacation. You mentioned beach, but where specifically?
Yeah, dream vacation's tough. Sorry. Also, like, I get arrested like at least 4 times
waiting
a
for
day.
the SWAT team to roll in.
Yeah, people get really scared for me when I'm streaming. I'm like, no, I promise it's outside. Dream vacation. like I do think it is like on a like I have two of them, right? Like Rhode Island is like one of my top experiences. Like I went to a beach and obviously like went sailing and had like a really nice week out there. Also pretty high up there is like the European kind of like adventure that we were gonna go on. Yeah, so like I think like it would be like London, France. Kind of just going through the European experience there.
That's awesome. All right, here we go. This is the biggest one.
This is easy. I can already tell you the answer. It's no.
No.
I read the question, but like
the
it's no.
question is pineapple on pizza.
Hell no.
Yes. The pizza fan.
That's so hard. It's like such a hard no.
It's
like
such a hard no.
Like I will not eat it. Definitely not.
Gross, man. I can't stand it.
Also, like I will back up and say that like I am one of the most basic eaters to like roam this planet. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Like I like cheese pizza. Like I don't really like pepperoni on my pizza.
Oh.
Like I eat like a chicken sandwich for dinner sometimes, right? It's just like bread and like sliced chicken, right? Like I don't even put like anything on it. Like, that's just what I eat. Like and people are always
Esports
like, how
diet,
do you
Esports business diet right here,
exist?
101.
Like I'm gonna be honest. Like my breakfast is. Oh, rip Rob. Yeah. Oh. Anyways, yeah, like my breakfast sometimes is like granola. Like I just eat granola with a little bit of milk. But anyways, no pineapple on pizza. Pineapple is not meant for on pizza. It is to be eaten separately.
Sorry for the awkward windows, people. We lost Rob, so we're a little bit out of sorts here. So
he ran away. He got mad because I said no.
He's back.
I said no to the pineapple.
We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep it going though. Keep it rolling. Favorite monument in DC?
That's a tough one. So I actually don't know if I don't think we actually told people this story, but like when the team was here on Sunday, we did like the full tour of all the monuments, and it was like 95 degrees out, and we walked to all of them, and it was the sweatiest I've ever been in my entire life. So it's a little tough to like the monuments. I'm just kidding. Yeah, like watching a monument for sure. Like it's just a really cool experience. Like obviously, like when you're flying into the city, like that's the first one you see and whatnot, and it's just a really cool kind of like fixture of the town.
Absolutely. I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Discord doesn't like me apparently.
Also, it's because I said no pineapple.
Dude, yeah, they heard.
Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah.
So you remember that dress challenge back in like 2015?
Oh, I remember. It's blue. We're not debating.
Yeah,
this.
see, I saw blue too.
Really?
Yeah.
We're asking if it was blue or gold. I saw blue for sure. Connor?
I saw both at different points. I really bought into the thing where like you think of a color and then you see that color. Maybe I'm just into the Zen nonsense, but that was my experiance. So
I gotta be honest, those challenges like they really bother me. Like I like maybe I'm just not a fun person, but like I honestly like whatever like when the uni right one or whatever like whatever that one was, like we even made like a content piece for it, and I had to leave. Like I couldn't watch the team like film this. I was like, you guys are like debating this. Like who cares? Like please go like practice the game or like do something like useful, right? Like, I wouldn't answer the email for like 30 minutes, and I was just like, I know why we're doing this, right? Like because it's big on social, but like I can't do it.
I'm sure there'll be a new one soon, Grant.
There will be, and I'll text our social person and be like, we're doing this, and then I will go somewhere else.
If you want a quick response from Grant, email him during the next annoying social media thread.
Yeah, exactly.
Just shoot him some emails, and he'll get right back to you. So
there's not that many annoying ones, but like some of the ones where like it's just like there's no right answer.
Yeah.
Like that's like I'm too practical of a person where like if it was like all just like a mind trick where like someone was like messing with people and like they like knew the actual answer because they started it, like I'd be okay with it. But it's just it gives people a reason to like argue for like hours. Like I don't need to listen to that. Like I don't know. Okay, that's my personal rant
I
for
love
today.
it. That's
All
awesome.
right, favorite book or movie?
I'll do movie. I feel like it's pretty obscure, but Inside Man.
Interesting.
I don't know if people have heard of it. I'm also terrible with actors, so I don't know who's
is
in it.
Denzel
But
Washington or whatever?
yeah. It
It's a
is
good movie.
so elegant in like the way that they rob this bank, which is awesome. Not that I want to rob a bank, please, no FBI. Yeah, it's just like really elegant, like how they think of it. It's really like cool how they like wrap up the movie too. Yeah, I'm super obsessed with that movie and big fan.
Nice.
Awesome. If I'm not lagging too hard right
Good.
now, okay, good. All right, last question here for our lightning round.
Ooh.
If you were a cereal box, what would you be and why?
So like I'm on the box.
You are the box.
No, you are one.
You somehow become a box of cereal.
I am a box of cereal. Can I not be a box of
No.
cereal like that? That sounds like a real bad existence.
It's tough, but you gotta make the best of what you got. You
yeah,
gotta be the best box of cereal you can.
Would you rather be
Yeah.
the cereal or the box? Because you
Lot
could
of
be either
layers
one, I guess.
to this.
Being the cereal is better, I feel like, because then you're loved while you're being eaten,
Strange,
right?
thrown away for the box.
Otherwise, you just get thrown out in the trash. Yeah.
Sometimes people will draw on you,
It's true.
try to finish the maze.
Okay. Any case, I mean, I feel like I'd be Lucky Charms.
Nice.
Like,
Classic.
I'd at least be lucky. Like, I'd be lucky, right? And like
It's a fun
everyone likes
box.
Lucky Charms. Yeah, it's colorful.
Absolutely.
It appeals to everyone. Like,
I was trying to think of a cereal box like Raisin Bran or something that would never get touched, like it gets bought and then just gets put on a shelf, and so you live forever. You're eternal. Maybe like just regular
Dude.
checks, like not flavored checks.
I mean, so weirdly enough, one of the few things I actually make is party mix.
Yeah.
Which
Use a
uses
lot of regular
regular
checks.
Chex
Yeah,
Mix.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Nice.
but yeah, I would opt out of being a
That's
box
fair.
of cereal if I
That's
could.
fair.
Hey, you could be
Like not
Lucio's.
COOs.
Lucio's, people are going to collect those, man.
I could be. Yeah, I actually remember like someone brought a box to like our fan event to have like the players sign,
Nice.
I believe that.
and I was like, this is insane. Like when people like ask like, why do you think like Overwatch League is like going to be successful? It's because somebody went out to a grocery store or was at a grocery store, bought a product, held onto it, did not eat the product or use the product,
Yeah.
and then had a bunch of like people sign the box,
And they're gonna
Like,
keep it forever
yeah.
now,
That's-
and maybe sell it.
and they're gonna keep it forever. Like you can't fake that
That's
level of
true.
fandom.
Man.
Like that's the level of fandom. When people are like if I see like one more Nielsen or like Newsy report where it's like esports fans are like they're gonna spend all this money, right? Like they're real. Like yeah, like you have all this data that like hypothesizes that this is accurate, or you've like done surveys that like and you've like measured it. Like that's awesome. That's real, right? Like that's the story that you tell an investor. That's the story that you tell an owner. It's like, why are you getting involved in the space? Like, why do you want to reach this demographic? Because like this is the demographic. This is what they care about. Like that person didn't go buy like we had Alex Ovechkin like cereal in the like in stores. We had some other hockey player whose name I already forgot because it's hockey. Like we had those boxes of cereal in there, like, but you can't buy that box of cereal and like, I mean, maybe if you're like 1 out of like 5,000 people, you get it signed, right? Like, who's like going to the store buying that and like taking it and like trying to get it signed, right? Like that's the like fandom that like esports has, and also like it's not just fandom, but it's like coupled with the accessibility. Where like our players, like when a brand asks like, why should I sponsor like an esports like player or like team? It's like if you put the product in the hands of the players and they actually like it, if a fan tweets at them and is like, what keyboard do you use? Or like, what mouse do you use? They'll respond. They'll be like, oh yeah, like I use Logitech, or like, oh yeah, I use Corsair, I use HyperX, like, and they'll actually tell you why. Like, you can tweet Alex Ovechkin 10,000 times, and he is never going to respond to you.
Man,
Like, I don't
that's a great
care
point.
who you are, he's not gonna answer you, right? Like, you can tweet Fozix, you can tweet Corey, you can tweet Stratus, and like maybe they don't answer you every time, but like they will answer like probably like a significantly higher percentage of fans and have that like level of access that you don't get from traditional sports or from like a traditional athlete or influencer.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, this was a very far tangent from
this is
cereal.
what the lightning round's for.
No,
This is what it's for,
this
man. We started with what box of cereal would you be, and we ended up with Alex Ovechkin. So that's how it goes.
Not that like that activation is bad or anything. Let's preface that.
No, yeah, it's totally fair.
Not trying to roast that.
Totally fair. Well, we've already gone over our time a little bit, so I think we'll just get to our last segment and then kind of head out. We don't want to keep you too long, Grant, but
I'm just gonna go play Overwatch after this. So we're good.
Plug the stream if you're gonna stream it. Just kidding.
TBD.
So last segment we're calling it our WatchHaus Words of Wisdom. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a Confucius says kind of thing, but maybe just something to be on the lookout for from you. Just kind of a last word you want to drop for us. As we're going to be keeping an eye on the Justice as they go into stage 3. We're going to be keeping an eye on and you and all the cool stuff you're doing. So, what is kind of a last word you have for viewers out there who are either Justice fans or not, or just Grant fans or whatever? So,
oh God, yeah. So, I probably won't make this like super short, but let's start with like what to look forward to. So, like stage 3 is going to be awesome. I've personally been watching a lot of scrims. I feel like pretty good about where we are performance-wise. So hopefully good things to come in that territory. I think like in general as a league, there's really cool things to come from Overwatch League. So stay tuned for some of those. For Justice fans in particular, one of our big focuses is on content. So hopefully everyone's kind of enjoying the content put out from the DC trip. We'll also have more content coming like week to week. That's been a really big goal that or kind of really big hole that we've been trying to fill lately. So hopefully you guys kind of enjoy that. And then obviously like stay tuned. I think we'll have a new GM, obviously not super quick, but definitely in the next few weeks or a month or so, which will be really great to have them on board. And then yeah, I mean, it's really just about like I don't feel like we're like turning a page necessarily or whatever, since it's like halfway through the season, but like I hope the tone is a little different, right? Like I think it's really tough being a like lower in the standings team. I don't think it necessarily has to make you change like your outlook on like how you interact with the community or like the fans. Like I know, I mean, it's not always super fun like going on like Twitter or Reddit after a loss, right? I mean, this holds true for like traditional sports as well. I don't really mind it. Like I'm here to like answer questions, and like I want you to like hold us accountable, right? So like if you don't like, if you wonder why we do something, and like obviously we're not gonna be able to tell you everything we do all the time, but like I hope that this is at least like a new level of transparency for the Justice, and hopefully like this is a good starting point or whatnot, and really like this just leading into like bringing the team home for 2020, right? Like I think bringing the team here to DC will be really exciting, and obviously building out kind of the infrastructure and what that looks like for the next year. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, hopefully this is fun for everyone.
Yeah, it's been a blast for us. Oh, this has been super insightful, dude. Holy cow! So,
I mean, as long as Rob had fun, that's why I'm here, really.
Yeah, I know. Grant's just helping me out right now. Dude, I loved it. I would say, literally, my words of wisdom is go follow you on Twitter. I think you put out some great stuff. I've always been a fan of your thoughts and whatnot. I think you do a great job, and as I think I've been telling you now for a freaking month, I think you're going to go crush it, man. I'm sure you're already doing it with things that we don't even know about.
I hope so.
Kind of last, my word of wisdom would be definitely watch that Fuel Justice match week 1 of stage 3.
There we go.
If we're looking, I think this is a Justice team that has added a ton of assets, including Grant, to the team. The Fuel have looked shaky at certain parts, so this is definitely a game that is certainly winnable for the Justice, so please watch that game. I think it'll be incredible. And then this is Pride Month, so love each other, support one another. I know the Justice are supporting this as well. I think teams across the league are doing an excellent job. The Overwatch League just announced their merge that they're releasing as well. So, I mean, just support Pride Month, guys. And thank you for being here tonight. if we don't have anything else, thank you again to Rob. Thank you to Grant for coming on. Seriously, this has been such an insightful 70 minutes. Thank you so much, dude. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's why I'm here. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Certainly echo everything you guys said. Pride Month's certainly a really important cause. I know there's a pin as well where the proceeds go to a really great organization. So be sure to purchase that if you have some free cash or whatnot. And yeah, my base thing is I'm so bad at not answering stuff. So please guys, if you have questions, I promise I am as open and transparent as they come. So please DM me, tweet me.
Awesome.
Don't Facebook stalk me, but outside of that, please, please ask me your questions and really honestly, I'm just here to there is no Overwatch League and there is no justice without fans, right? So I'm just here to kind of be an ambassador for you guys and we build a team that makes DC proud.
Awesome, man. Hey, we're excited to see the work you do. And,
oh yeah,
absolutely. From our house viewers, I'm Connor Knutson, Goopy Kanoopy. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Stay easy.